honor, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is our organizational meeting. Could we have the roll call, please?
Mrs. Espiritu?
Here.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Here.
Ms. Laird?
Here.
Mr. Price is absent. Mrs. Ray?
Here.
Okay, we're at the point of our organizational meeting where we're going to choose our officers for the Board of Education for this calendar year. Do we have nominations for president?
I would like to nominate the very noble Mr. Alex Gorbitz. I think you'd make a fine candidate. Your professional background is particularly relevant with what we have at hand.
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing none, we'll have a motion to close nominations for president.
I move to close nominations.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird?
Yes.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Yes. Okay, now the vote on the presidency. Mrs. Espiritu.
So that was, that was just to close the nominations. Now we're actually gonna just have to say the name of the candidate you'd like.
Alex.
I'll vote for myself. Ms. Laird.
Alex.
Price is absent. Mrs. Ray.
The Mr. Alex Gorbitz.
Okay, the oath of office.
Mr. Gorbitz, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as President of the Board of Education of the Fremont City School District, Sandusky County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? If so, please answer in the affirmative.
I will.
Thank you. Welcome.
Gentlemen, could I get you to move for a picture a little bit? The men's room is just not quite as
I'm sorry.
John, you mind?
Absolutely.
Do you got your phone? Can you? I'll move out of the way. I can see all kinds of fun comments on that.
Alan, can you put your hand up again? We'll pose one. There we go. 1, 2. Got it. Did you smile? Very good.
Look at his eyes.
I was smiling.
Always.
Okay. We have nominations for vice president.
I would like to nominate Mary Alice Espiritu.
Are any other nominations? Seeing none, we have a motion to close nominations for vice president. Ray made the motion to close.
Second.
Chantel, second. Okay, motion is made by Mrs. Ray, seconded by Ms. Laird. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray?
Yes.
Ms. Laird?
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu?
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz?
Yes. And now the vote for Vice President. Mrs. Espiritu voted for.
Myself.
I'm voting for Mrs. Espiritu. Ms. Laird.
Mrs. Espiritu.
Mrs. Ray.
Mrs. Espiritu.
And then we'll have the oath of office for Vice President, administered by the Treasurer.
Mrs. Espiritu, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as Vice President of the Board of Education of the Fremont City School District, Sandusky County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? If so, please answer in the affirmative.
I will.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing.
Yeah,
Item one.
I could maybe explain a little bit. Would you rather do that, or would you? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, this next group is a few things together that we sort of do with your approval, kind of set us up to do business for the year. Item one is just to announce where and when we're going to meet. So you'll see it's the second and fourth Mondays of the month here at Fremont Middle School. Item two is the service fund. That just basically allows us to do business. It also sets aside some money for trainings, mileage, just extemporaneous costs for the business of the board. Item three, we're going to need a name for who would like to be the legislative liaison. I know you've talked a little bit. Who do we have?
Would be myself.
Chantel Laird. Item four would like to be the OSBA delegate to the annual conference.
I think that's me.
Violetta Ray. Thank you, Vi, for your service. Item five is then the alternate delegate for the Ohio School Board Association annual conference.
That will be Mr. Price.
Price. Very good. Continuing on. Item six is our board representation for our Learning and Liberty Foundation.
I think that's me.
By Ray.
Right.
Item seven is the annual payment of our membership dues to Ohio School Board Association. I think that's the best money we spend as a group all year long. I think a fabulous organization with a lot of good things to do, help us with. And now a couple more committees. We have a Treasurers Committee. Now this is the Audit and Records Committee that meets annually, or every so often, Ira, I can't remember how often.
Once a year anyway.
Okay, to kind of go over audit and records. We'll need two names for board members to serve on that.
That would be me and Mrs. Espiritu.
Okay. Alex and Mary Alice, okay. Then a few more committees. We have a policy committee. We need one member for that. Is that Mr. Gorbetz? The CQCC, which is our Curriculum Quality Control Group.
That's Mary Alice and I.
Oh, okay. Noted there's two. Health and Wellness.
Be Mr. Price.
Bryce.
And Vi, did you want to? Okay.
Is that slate acceptable to everyone? Okay, so we need a motion for those.
Items 1 through 9.
Vi, did you want to also be, you don't have to, just opening up the opportunity. Did you want to also be in any of those?
No.
Okay.
Motion to be appropriate.
I move to approve.
You have a second?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Laird, seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. Roll call, please.
This is for items 1 through 9. Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Ms.
Oh, sorry.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. I'm sorry about that interruption. I had put on item 10, just in case there was something else that we wanted to do, or if there was another committee. And Vi, I think you actually alerted the office today, very thankfully, that we didn't have the student achievement liaison on here. This would be an appropriate place to put that if we would like to do that.
Yeah, and I would like to.
Okay, so we'll add student achievement liaison as item 10. Was there anything else the board would like to do?
And I would like us to consider adding a finance committee. Years ago, we had a committee that I thought worked very well. It's a board committee, board-led, one member. Certainly the treasurer is there, but it encompasses a couple of different community members, the different union representatives, some teachers, students, to take a look at where we're at fiscally throughout the year.
Sure.
Participate with us.
Okay.
So I'd like us to do that, and I would like to chair the committee.
Very good. We have a finance committee with Ms. Laird as board representative. Very good. Anything else? Anything else we can think of, kind of our chance to do that?
Can I clarify something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the student achievement liaison.
Yes.
There's a local one or district one that's appointed. Oops. And then there's also the state team. So they have the same name except for, the team at the end, SALT. So, just to make the differentiation, Chantel was.
Is it intended to be the same?
No,
No, okay.
I'm local via the state.
The state,
okay.
yeah.
Thank you for that clarification. Got it. So Chantel will be the local student achievement liaison, and Vi Ray will maintain the state level representation.
Yes, the student achievement team.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Thank you. If there's nothing else, we could have a motion for item 10, which includes student achievement and the finance committee.
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Ray. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Laird. Any further comments? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Board. Item 11 recognizes my membership at our Business Advisory Council at the ESC level, county level. Item 12 allows me to be representative for grants. Item 13 allows our participation in state and federal programs, a big part of our operation here. Item 14 allows me to be the purchasing agent. Item 15 allows Ira Hammond to be the public records, be trained for public records and appointed as a board's designee. Also, the treasurer, item 16, for investment of funds authorization. Item 17, the treasurer will be authorized to request advances in all available monies. Item 18 allows Ira to set up a petty cash account. And item 19, to issue warrants, basically write checks and pay the bills, which we're all about. Item 20 allows Ira to pay mileage. Item 21, which I'm thankful for, allows me, and just as needed, in between meetings, get somebody on the job if I really need to. I try to do that very sparingly, but I appreciate your trust in that. I'll do that very sparingly, but when necessary, we'll do that. Item 22 approves Bricker Neckler as our primary board's legal counsel. And item 23 would approve Brinza McIntyre and Seed as the property issues and tax valuation representation. If I got a motion for those, please.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve items 12 through 23?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Laird. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any questions, comments regarding those items? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried. Okay, can we have a motion to adjourn the organizational meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Laird, seconded by Mrs. Espiritu. Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes,
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Motion carried. That is the conclusion of our organizational meeting. Okay, now we go into our tax budget hearing. Call that meeting to order.
So the tax budget hearing is designed to a quick review of the tax budget and how we are funded through property taxes and for what we are funded for. It's a chance for the public to be aware of that. On the handout, I'm going to talk about the taxes that are levied, which I believe you'll find about page 3. We have 3 general fund operating levies. The first one is the inside millage. State law requires 10 mil to go across county entities. We get about 4.2 of that, as you'll see over in the far right column. That is a continuous thing. There is no voting on that. That is required by state law. Then there is the general fund operating that was continuous 1976. That millage at the time it was voted on was 23 mil. There was an additional voted operating levy in 1985. Both of those are continuous and ongoing. That one at the time was at 4.9 mils. Collectively, those mills together today, effective tax rate is right at 20 mil. One of a very low millage for any school district in Ohio. Additionally, there is a permanent improvement, which is a special levy. The funds raised from that levy has to be used for permanent improvements within the district. Equipment, textbooks, property that has a life of 5 years or longer. The millage rate on that is 1.35. And then there are the 2 bond levies. The one, the refinancing of the middle school, which started out in November of 2008. That is a 1.9 millage. And then the most recent one, which is what we're under right now for the construction of our elementary high school. And that millage is at 4.63%. So if I added all those millages up together, that's 39.98 mil. And just as a side note, for every $100,000 of personal real estate, that's a $35 per mil is what that boils down to. The following page just breaks it down between the general fund, the permanent improvement fund, and that bond retirement fund. That would be my commentary. If there's questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I thank you for the opportunity to be able to present this to you. At our agenda later on, we will be voting for this.
Do we have any method by which we can somehow include the community in terms of educating them as to what this all means?
Well, I may recommend maybe what Ms. Laird just talked about, maybe the finance committee. That would
Finance
seem like a really
committee.
good tool. You know, because you're right, this is Greek to a lot of us, and I think that would be an appropriate method, in my opinion. Much needed. I think.
Are there any other comments regarding the tax budget hearing? Seeing none. We can roll right into
Well,
our...
we'd actually need
You
to
have to
adjourn,
adjourn.
actually officially adjourn this one so we can move into the next one.
Okay, can we have
We're
a
not lingering open.
Can we have a motion to adjourn?
And I don't even
the
know that we
tax
need a
budget?
motion, we just need a conclusion that the tax hearing is
Complete.
complete.
Do we need a motion? Can we have a motion to adjourn?
It looks like we have a roll call
Yeah,
that we
might
have
as
to
well do it.
take, so. I move to adjourn the tax hearing.
Thank God. No, just kidding.
Thank you.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Moved by Ms. Laird, seconded by Mrs. Espiritu, that we adjourn the tax budget hearing. Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes?
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
My apology, I was reading on a different paper.
Okay.
Two-thirds of the way home, Mr. Gorbett.
Okay. All right. Approve or amend and sign the minutes of the regular meeting held December 14th, 2020.
Probably ought to officially call us ourselves to order, Alex. I know it seems a little redundant, but we are officially adjourned, so
Okay.
sorry.
Gonna resurrect our meeting.
Yes.
Calling the roll.
We're-
Okay,
we're
roll
gonna
call.
Start our third
We're
meeting.
beginning all over.
Third time.
That's right. It's a little wacky. Could you go ahead and call us to order like you would in a normal meeting?
No. Okay. All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance again.
I pledge allegiance
to
the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Here.
Mr. Gorbitz,
Here.
Miss Laird,
Here.
Mrs. Ray,
Here?
Mr. Price is absent. Again.
Okay, approve or amend and sign the minutes of the regular meeting held December 14th, 2020.
Move to approve?
Second?
Moved by Ms. Laird, seconded by, was that Mary Alice?
Bye.
Seconded by Mrs. Ray. Any comments regarding the minutes? Okay, roll call, please.
Miss Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes?
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. We have any visitors this
We
evening?
do not.
Any visitors? Okay, item 7, we have a walk-on item.
Yes, what we'll do with the agenda going forward at that point will be the spot for the legislative report. So I would like to make that as a walk-on item. Mr. Hammond, I have 2 sources I'll be citing, and I'll pass these down to you so that you have them for reference.
Thank you.
Okay, the first is the link sponsored by the OSBA, and this is the January 21 edition. First, the General Assembly sent a few different bills to Governor Mike DeWine. The first is House Bill 409, some highlights of that one. My favorite, my personal favorite, is it includes the exemption of districts from retaining a student under the 3rd grade reading guarantee for 2021 school year. We have heard over and over again by educational experts that the retention serves no purpose in further educating the child. In fact, it's detrimental. So I'm happy to hear that personally. It gives you a little bit more authority Mr. Detweiler and letting you adjust or waive deadlines on various actions, including the filing of vacancy on boards of education and so on. And it prohibits state report cards for the 2021 school year and provides a safe harbor from sanctions or penalties from state report cards. So we'll be anxious to hear what happens with that particular one. The second is House Bill 436. And it requires some education and provisions for dyslexia screenings and continuing education for teachers in that regard. Another item we have, you know, it's kind of funny. I was several years ago the legislative liaison. I used to get a kick out of taking a look at the website to see all the different ideas in the bills that are being presented and how people prioritize and what's important can be humorous sometimes. You know, when you're in the middle of a crisis and you see a bill to fund Daffy Duck, you kind of, you know, get a kick out of it.
Right.
So there's a couple of those. No discredit to the founders of these particular bills, but Senate Bill 259 will require you to install water bottle filling stations. So be ready for that one in the midst of everything
New
else.
construction helps with that. It does.
Telling you.
Could be a faucet now.
A little bit of restructuring, just as we've all had here. The Ohio Senate elected Matt Huffman as a Republican from Lima as the president, and Senator Kenny Yuko, Democrat from Richmond Heights, as the minority leader. Locally, our legislative representative will be Pastor Gary Click, and Mr. Reinecke will be the senator for our area. Not sure who all of those positions will be on the education committee with the state. I don't know that Mr. Click will serve the same things that Mr. Reinecke did, but I will let you know as we find those things out. And probably the biggest bill in question was the school funding bill, House Bill 305. Kind of disappointing that it passed with such a vast majority in the House and then didn't through the Senate. But the report here is that they'll consider it as they reconvene with perhaps a couple of adjustments. So I'll report on what those are. The second source, if we could pass that down to Mr. Hammond, please, is the Facts in a Flash. It's by the OSBA's weekly update. This is the January 4th edition. A couple medical things there. This would require, it's House Bill 231, it would require the Ohio Department of Education to publicize a list of all the providers of EpiPens that would do that for free, whether the training is free, the medication itself, so that districts can take a look at that and partake. And it also would require education on food allergies to the students. And in addition to that, those dealing with diabetes, it expands who could administer glycogen. So some nice things to take care of our kids and keep them safe. And lastly, Mr. Detweiler, the OSBA always gives us the posting of all of the vacancies for superintendent.
I do see
He's
that every
not
now
on
and then.
And I'm sure the thoughts of a, one-room schoolhouse in the country sometimes
There are
is a little
days.
appealing, but there's no flair like there is in Fremont, so we hope that you never leave. That's it for tonight.
All right, thank you very much.
May I add to that?
Okay, thank you.
Also, could I add to that? I think a big one, Betsy DeVos, who is our big representative.
Education secretary, yep.
Yes, resigned, so I don't know how that's gonna affect our districts and stuff. I'm sure it might.
I imagine the new president will appoint someone
Be
soon.
a couple
Anyway.
weeks gap here, and then we'll be back with someone
I don't
else.
think that's going to affect us
Shouldn't be too much impact, yeah.
for the next 2 weeks.
Right.
But it certainly is good to see that there aren't going to be any penalties as a result of the state's accountability system.
Yeah.
Under the circumstances, it would have been ludicrous to
Agreed.
have that as it has been. So that's something to be thankful for.
Yeah, those are proposed. Those aren't fully passed yet, so still pitching up a prayer on that, but it looks good.
A superintendent's report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gorbetz. Couple things. We need to decide sort of, and if it's okay, I know we talked a little bit about this. I want to confirm with the board that our next work session here for January will be another look at learning and achievement and all things education. Not all things, obviously, but we're ready to do a report if that's okay with the board for our second January meeting. Okay, very good. Then I actually did, Ms. Laird, have a chance to meet with Gary Click Friday. We sat for over an hour and chatted about all kinds of things. So we talked finance and utility companies and Ed Choice, and we had a great chat. So I look forward to a nice working relationship with him. And I think having now an established relationship with Mr. Reinecke will also help us to get sort of both things covered. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much. New courses. Board, this isn't something we'll act on tonight, but I want to let you just draw your attention to some new tweaks that we have for what you'll see in our curriculum guide. So what the board's role is to approve the overall curriculum guide, which is kind of the big view of the whole district. But I want to draw your attention to what will be new on that when we act on that in a future meeting. We are adding a science fiction literature course. We're tweaking that. It actually exists, but we're tweaking that a little bit. We're adding a creative writing course that will expose students to a variety of writing styles that allow them to polish their narrative techniques, voice as an author, and creative writing. One I'm really excited about and really want to draw your attention to is one called Social Issues in Multicultural Literature. Topics will include, but won't be limited to, Hispanic and Latina culture, African American culture, immigration, police and community relations, medical ethics, racism, and more. This course will ask students to synthesize multiple sources on each topic with literature that represents the issue to develop a well-rounded picture of the cultural differences in America today. This course will count toward a required English credit. Suggested new courses will have another Intro to Business course, and then a first and second Computer Science Principles class, which we're actually very excited about to beef up our computer science course. And also then we'll be adding an advanced English class, which is actually for 8th graders on a top track. We'll take an English 9 course. This is new for us, and we're very excited to offer that to our accelerated students in 8th grade who haven't at this point had an advanced English class to take in the middle school. We're very excited about that. So just a taste of what's coming. Certainly some dialogue can happen, but I just want to kind of give you a heads up on what's coming down the pike there. We have a very exciting season happening in our winter sports. Can I brag just for a moment? I asked Mr. Burnt today to combine give me a sense of all the sports teams this winter and how they're doing. I'd like to report out that the swim team, combined record of 10-3, 10 wins, 3 losses, boys and girls, fabulous. The girls basketball team, the 7th grade girls are 7-1. I've only lost 1. The 8th grade girls, 5-1. So as a combined middle school record of 12-2. Our JV girls are 8-3. Our varsity girls are 9-2. Our combined high school record right now is 17 wins and 5 losses for the girls basketball program. Combined 7 through 12, 29-7. It's just so fun to go to these games. On the boys' side, 7th grade boys A are 8-1, B is 4-1, 8th grade A is 6-3, 8th grade is 3-1. So middle school combined record of 12-2, 12 wins, 2 losses. The JV is 5-3, the varsity is 5-4. The boys program combined is 23-16. So just a fabulous winter season going for us. It's just so exciting to hear it. Our wrestling as a team has not done as well, but we have a couple real stars that are really exceeding. One of those, Ethan Green. Ethan is ranked number 1 in the state in his weight class in several polls, in the top 5 in many of the polls across the state. Ethan Green, so name to watch for winter sports. Just wanted to share some good news. We're on a very competitive swing right now. It's very fun to be a little giant right now. On the COVID numbers, just so you know, unfortunately, I think we are seeing a little bit of a Christmas bump. We went from 5 students isolated before break and during break to 11 as of Friday. So just doubled our kids who are isolated. And employees, it's up a little bit. Actually, we're at 3 right now. And in quarantine, we're at 15 for students, and right now 9 for employees. So we're getting hit a little bit, actually by a department. Our maintenance department got hit over the weekend. So a little bit up. It's not bad, and we're hoping it flattens out and goes back down maybe that Christmas peak. So I just want to report out on that. If you have any questions on that.
Just a quick statement. Certainly concerned for all those impacted by that, and,
Sure.
and wish them good health and recovery. But I just want to say, gosh, if that's the increase, if that's where we're at, given the number that we have in our student body, still kudos to what we've been hearing about our student body and the way they're conducting themselves, and certainly our staff as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah. And I hear all over the state people saying that really schools are very safe right now. I mean, we've got it. We're doing a good job of keeping kids safe. Okay, I think that's it for that extra stuff. Alex, if I may proceed with the rest of the agenda. Thank you very much. Okay, we have in your packet tonight 2 draft school calendars, an A and a B. The policy reads that we will present it. We will also present then what the staff prefers, but then the board finally approves at our next meeting. We also need a 1-month hearing of the public. So this is my presentation of those calendars. We will vote on one of those calendars in our next meeting. Just so you know, calendar A got 105 votes, and calendar B got 77 votes. So calendar A was the first choice of the staff. So with the board's approval, I'll bring that forward at our next meeting. We attached you the Learning and Liberty annual report in your packet. I'm going to draw your attention to that. And then we'll continue into our recommendations. Our donations, we have Teresa Kozak with some custodial supplies. SCOTA, that is the Sandusky County, I'm thinking SCORTA. I think this might be SCORTA, it might be missing an R, but it's the Retired Teachers Association. I'm pretty sure that's SCORTA, not SCOTA. It's the Organization of Retired Teachers. Then St. Paul's Episcopal Church, winter hats and gloves, Grace Lutheran Church, some holiday masks, our Parks Department for some yearbooks, and then a very generous gift from Mr. Ramirez for $3,645. If I could have a motion to accept those donations, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Espiritu and seconded by Ms. Laird. Roll
It was
call.
by-
It was actually Vi.
Bye.
Aye, excuse me. I'm trying very hard not to have to use this tonight, but I'm having a little trouble differentiating between.
We look so much alike.
If it'll make you feel better, Alex, I thought it was Mrs. Espiritu also.
Well, that goes with our age.
Yes.
We're
And
almost
covering up mouths is just makes it tough.
We're a day apart.
Oh,
Even,
really?
it's coming up.
January 31st.
We're gonna party hardy, aren't
You
we?
know, duly noted.
So you're January 30th or the February 1st?
The first.
The next day. Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Board. Item 2 is a considerable approval agreement with the city's Office of Diversity and Inclusion. This will allow us to have some shared services with Shari Mullen, who's just been really on fire for us and doing a great job of helping us analyze policy and look at recruitment and helping me form a diversity and inclusion internal committee. And they're just doing a lot of great work. So with your approval, this will come out of our Wellness and Success dollars, which we got from the governor last year. Also, I'd like to add that the governor made very clear, like 2 weeks ago, that he fully intends to keep this going with this Wellness and Success dollars. So that's very exciting because that's really some of that money that's it's not local dollars and it's flexible, but it's well intended and well done. So we're pretty excited about this opportunity. So with your approval, we'll continue with that.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve item 2?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Laird. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any comments regarding item 2? I notice we have a job description of sorts
Yes, sir.
contained within our packet, so.
I just wanted to ask John, would you mind following up with Robert Carter? He
Yes.
met with us in the summer, and
Right.
our intention was to bring him back, and he was going to assist with some of these things.
Yes.
But now that we've had this opportunity, which came up after,
Yep. Absolutely.
just kind of let him know where we're at with
Absolutely.
that.
Certainly appropriate. Will do.
Yeah. Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz,
Yes.
Thank you very much, Board. Item 3 is the purchase of a utility vehicle. And in our new elementary buildings, if you haven't been to one lately when the playgrounds were done, there is a giant asphalt playground at each building. It really is larger and larger than what we've had in the past. We are running into some snow removal issues. Also, much more sidewalk to clean and scrape. It's a safety issue. So we are, again, utilizing some of that Wellness and Success dollars to purchase a vehicle that will help us very efficiently. And actually, it's actually something you can drive on the street, so you can go from one elementary to another and do it very quickly. We just aren't set up for what we need to do right now for keeping our playgrounds open and safe. So with your approval, we'll proceed with this purchase.
We have a motion to approve item 3.
So moved.
Motion made by Mrs. Ray. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Laird. Any questions regarding item 3?
Yeah, I'm wondering why we don't use PI dollars.
Well, it's partially a preservation effort, to try to guard those dollars as well. And we thought this was a nice safety issue that we could use some of those dollars for. And it certainly is appropriate, not inappropriate to use PI, but we thought PI, we can also, it isn't as easy to sometimes tie that directly to student wellness and safety. So this would allow us to use some of those dollars for that.
And this is the money that's directly from the governor, part of
Correct.
that same thing.
Correct, it's like $1.6 million, I think,
And-
Ira?
this year, yes.
So John, do you feel that we're covered with equipment or any facility accommodations as best as we can be with regards to the pandemic? Is there anything else?
Oh, you mean like sanitizing equipment and things like that?
Yeah, I would want to use the dollars for those things first.
Yeah, I think our rhythm is pretty good. We bought, sprayers and bottles and dispensers and temperature machines. So yeah, I could say with pretty good confidence. And I would say also our spread numbers sort of speak to the fact I think we're doing a pretty
We're
good job of
okay,
cleaning.
and there hasn't been any requests for anything from faculty or anything
No,
that you,
no, as a
okay.
matter of fact, and I might mention, we bought shields, and then I think some teachers decided, you know what, I don't need those, so those are sitting in the corner.
Okay.
Bus sprayers, and now we have more bus sprayers than I think some of the bus drivers are
Okay,
using. So
okay.
I think, and I know Mr. Zeller ordered some standing hand sanitizers that just aren't being used the way we thought they'd be used. So I
Okay.
think I think we've done a pretty good job of getting the equipment that we need to be.
It's a very legitimate purchase.
Right,
I'm
no,
not
I get it.
questioning the purchase.
Just make sure we're
It's-
getting the priorities.
Okay,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Great question.
And it still is a relatively small percentage of what's
Yes.
in that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. Maybe 0.5%.
There. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz,
Yes.
Thank you very much, Board. Item 4 through 8 are our second readings of those policies. I'd like your approval this evening if those are all suitable.
Okay, we have a motion to approve items 4 through 8. Those are policies that we've already discussed.
Move to approve?
Motion by Ms. Laird. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any questions regarding items 4 through 8, those policies? Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz,
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item 9, with your approval, just take a couple minutes here to talk about School Board Recognition Month. It's, and I can vouch for this, it's not a good time to be a leader, really, right now. It's just tough. And because even today I was trying to explain to a parent why we're doing what we're doing. And there are no clear answers sometimes. There aren't clear pathways forward. There are people that, good, well-intended people, completely on two ends of some of the issues that we're having right now. I mean, these are honest, good-willed people that just see things differently. So to be a leader right now is one of the most challenging things I know I've ever done in my life. I know that reflects on you folks too. So if I could take just a moment to thank you publicly for what you do publicly for the good of the students in this district. It's not easy. And I also think sometimes people think board members can just fix stuff. Well, it's not that easy either. I mean, you're one member of a 5-member board, so you bring what you can, you fight for what you believe in, but at the end of the day, you're also a member of a board, which doesn't allow you all the autonomy that some people think you have. So it's a tough spot. So I recognize that, and I want to appreciate you this evening. First of all, Mr. Price, I'm going to stay at my seat so people can hear me, because if I wander around, I'm afraid the community won't hear me. So excuse me for not doing this a little closer to you. Mr. Price, I think Mr. Price brings a business owner point of view that is very important. You know, I think that business link and what the community needs and what it takes to run a business and a man who makes decisions every day, all day about his business and what's good and what's right for his company, that brings a very valuable asset to our board. So Mr. Price, I know you're watching. Thank you for all you do for the students of Fremont City Schools. Ms. Laird. Ms. Laird is a courageous leader. When I think of courageous, Chantel's right there. I've never seen an issue that she even shied away from, saying, no, this is the right thing to do. I mean that, Chantel. You have a courage that I admire very much. And I think that this day and age, it's easy to waffle. It's easy to kind of look the other way. And I think we see that all over our country right now. We're not naming what things are and calling it the way it is. Your courage is an inspiration to me. Thank you for your leadership.
Thank you.
Miss Ray, I was thinking today, Miss Ray, about this, and I thought about the Bible verse that talks about we're all parts of the body. You know, you're a hand, I'm a nose, you're an ear, I'm a foot. You're the heart. I think you're the heart of our organization, and I know I can count on you for that view of what we need in our heart and what's right and what's good for our students. I think you bring that, and I appreciate that. That's my take on your part of the body.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bri. Mary Alice, I'm amazed. First time, I don't know if you've done anything like this before in your life. I don't know.
No.
I know what courage it took for you to step up and do this. We've talked about that a little bit, right? And at a time when no one else really was stepping up, you stepped up. And I think what you've brought is a very sense of thoughtfulness. You think about it and you analyze what's going on and you watch your other board members, you watch your community, and I believe that you make very thoughtful decisions. And a couple times we've talked, and you've said things that have just clarified things for me in a way that I hadn't even done for myself. I appreciate the way you look at things, think about them, and are thoughtful with what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gorbetz, I was going to make a comment about being a wise old owl. But when
The old part.
well, the old part, I guess we could overplay that. But there's a wisdom that you bring that I think no one else has. And I mean no one. Maybe a few people that I know. You are a person that watches, you watch, you watch, and then you speak. And when you speak, people listen. Because they know what you're going to say is meaningful, thoughtful, and wise. Thank you, Mr. Gorbetz, for your service. Fremont City Schools. So item 9 is a recognition of School Board Recognition Month. Folks, thank you for all that you do. If I could have a motion to accept that, please.
We have a motion to approve item 9,
I move to approve.
moved by Ms. Laird. We have a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Ray. Any comments regarding that? I appreciate your thoughts.
Pleasure is mine, in all sincerity.
Not my place to comment, but I would agree with everything he said.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Item 10, consider approval of adoption of resolution for National Mentoring Month. You know, we all know That's one of the most useful, research-proven ways to make a difference with a child is mentoring. We've got 3 or 4 ways to do that in our district. I'm thankful for all those who participate. Lots of citizens who just give of their time to help students for no pay. There's no recognition. It's just a lot of work. So we can't say enough about our mentors, and those programs are running strong and growing stronger all the time. And I commend them too for making it work during this pandemic. Really haven't missed a beat. A lot of virtual meetings, a lot of phone calls. They're still getting it done. So National Mentoring Month, with your approval, please.
We have a motion to approve item 10
So moved.
by Mrs. Ray. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Spiritu. I'd like to point out as an ACE mentor,
Yes, sir.
a member of the ACE mentoring program, the 2 coordinators, Miss Fry and Mrs. Tucker at the middle school, do a very
Phenomenal.
fine job coordinating the program. And the thanks we get are from the students
Sure.
themselves. And the intrinsic, there aren't too many opportunities for intrinsic reward, you know, for a lot of us, but you get a lot of that in that particular program. And of course, I'd be negligent if I didn't point out that Mrs. Ray here,
Yes,
pioneer,
that's right.
along with Dr. Jackson, way back in the day, for starting that program, which has blossomed into one of our better
Absolutely.
services that we provide students in the district.
How many years would that be, Vi?
Gosh, probably 17, 18.
Yeah. I think it'd be tough to point to any program that we're doing right now that's that old. Honestly, I mean, the fact that that is still going is a testament to its value and its effectiveness. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Board. And moving into student and staff achievement, have a resignation from Marilyn Missler. Item 12 are some appointments. We have a certified sub and then some more support staff substitutes. Item 13 is a special event worker. If we can pay our lifeguards, Ms. Caleb Glotzbecker, one of our students, going to lifeguard for us. Item 14, support staff substitute wages. Revision included, it's attached in your packet. Item 15 are 2 status changes for Justin Tweary and Leela Foos. Item 16, we have a couple leaves of absence. Christopher Hill, Gustavo Garcia, and Angela Mailing. If I could have your approval for those items, please.
Have a motion to approve items 11 through 16.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Laird. We have a second.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Spiritu. I noticed Mrs. Foos is going from a paraprofessional to a cook.
Yes.
And, I want to point out Mrs. Foos did an outstanding job as a paraprofessional. I
Thank you.
hope we can somehow replace the
Maybe tough to
service
do,
she
yeah.
provided. Okay. The roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Spiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Board. And my last item is just to note the CQCC meeting minutes that are in your packet. So that's just for the record.
And I was prepared to report on those minutes.
Please, I would.
Mr. Detweiler summarized the meeting better than I ever could have.
I'm so sorry, Alex. I didn't mean to steal that.
It's the
I didn't
one
really-
thing I was prepared.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I really am sorry. I was just so excited about it. I couldn't stand it.
I do want to add
Please do.
one thing that I don't think you mentioned. The 9th grade English class that was added to the middle school curriculum
Correct.
is designed to meet the needs also of our gifted population who are accelerated at the middle school in language arts.
Yes, sir.
I thought that was a very significant addition to all of those, as well as all the additions. Some of those courses I wouldn't mind taking myself at this point. They sound so interesting and engaging.
Yeah.
But that is a way to serve our gifted kids. And
Yep.
I know, like every district, we're always looking for ways to appropriately serve secondary gifted kids because it's not easy
It's not easy.
to get everything in the schedule. That's an excellent opportunity for gifted kids in language arts to excel.
Absolutely. And it just opens up opportunities. So as an 8th grader, you get that high school credit for 9th grade English. It just gets you ahead. So then all of a sudden things can expand. You can do more options, like Alex saying, just opens up your schedule for other opportunities, secondary ed, everything else. So thank you, Alex. And I do apologize for stealing
That's
that.
okay. Okay, fiscal. Board of the Treasurer.
Just a couple comments. We are probably at one of our busy times of the year right now. I have to say, I've got a staff that is just working very well together. Organic cross-training. Obviously, it comes with some of the downside, but we continue to move ahead, and it's been a great environment here this last month. The auditor for the state for our financial audit has been in a couple of days, last week, this week. We're continuing to move on with that. Currently, there's been no citations, no negative comments at this point, so it feels like we're moving along pretty well. We got our gap audit completed some time ago. Other than that, I've got 2 items on the agenda this evening. I do apologize for not having the December financial report. It was a real struggle with the days off to even get closed. First one is approval supplemental increase of appropriations for the 5 funds listed there. The revenues are out there. We just did not appropriate all of those earlier in the school year. And item 18, approval of the 21-22 tax budget, which we just had in the tax hearing a few minutes ago.
And do we have a motion can we have a motion to approve items 17 and 18?
So moved?
Moved by Ms. Laird. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Espiritu. Any questions or concerns regarding items 17 or 18? A roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. Okay, board member communication and information requests. I guess we can start with Mrs. Ray.
Well, I'm looking forward to a great new year, despite all of the downside of things. Proud for how our district has stepped up and, made all the changes that need to be made and are dealing with all the changes that are coming. So kudos to our superintendent and the staff. Also, like to thank, for some good news, like to thank or kudos to our students who excelled in sports and kind of made Fremont Look kind of nice. Okay. And we want to thank those in the community who donated, who made donations to our school. That's always above and beyond the taxes, and it's always wonderful when people care enough to provide our district. And I'm just grateful for the close of 2020, but also thankful for being able to work with such a great group here. Our board members are just awesome. I haven't seen friction and fighting and uprising as other board members I've seen and heard from other boards. So thank God that we have a nice working relationship with our board. So I'm thankful for you guys, and congratulations to our new president. Congratulations to our new vice president. Looking forward for your leadership in 2021.
Alice?
I'm looking forward to the new year too. The last year was, I don't know, I think it went sometimes it felt slow, it felt fast, it just lost.
Lost.
So I'm looking forward to the new year and see what it brings us. I also like to say good job to the students, the sports excelling and considering where we're at in the pandemic, and they're doing a great job. So.
Also, congratulations to our student athletes and to everyone in the district for making such a safe environment in such a difficult time. And I appreciate your comments and compliments to all of us, Mr. Detweiler. And I just want to say that, we might work on the policies, but the spirit of what we hope happens only comes to life through its implementation, and that's through you two very fine gentlemen. And I really thank you.
Thank you.
You've done a fine job in historically the most difficult time of education's history, I would imagine. So you have much to be proud of. We're certainly proud of both of you.
Thank you. Very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
Well, I appreciate the board's confidence in choosing me to be the president. Mary Alice and I will be meeting quite often over the next 12 months also. One thing about the athletic teams, and I kind of alluded to this when I talked a little bit about football, when our coach was named Coach of the Year in the district and the league. The teams as a group are very young. The girls' basketball team on the varsity, they start three freshmen, and they're 9 and 2. And the boys' team is also very young, starting 2 or 3 sophomores on a regular basis. So the future really does look good for our athletes and our teams. We certainly are in a challenging period of time here, as we've all pointed out, and all we can do is the best we can do under the circumstances. And when I'm in the schools, primarily the high school, the climate is still positive. The students are wearing their masks and doing it properly, keeping their distance. Staff is certainly well aware of what needs to be done. And the literature is now saying that school might be the safest place to be. That might be something to keep in mind as we go forward in terms of programming,
Sure.
things like that. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Laird,
Second.
second by Mrs. Espiritu. Roll call, please.
Ms. Laird,
Yes.
Mrs. Espiritu,
Yes.
Mrs. Ray,
Yes.
Mr. Gorbitz.
Yes. We are adjourned until January 25th.